and welcome back to some more daily race coverage. This time I'm covering the Transpyrenees, which kicked off this morning over in France. The Transpyrenees is run by Lostot, who are the organisers behind the transcontinental race. So if I just skirt down to the bottom here, give it a bit of background. So the Transpyrenees race is a self-supported ultra-distance cycling event organised by Lostot, the team behind the transcontinental race. Michael was designing this event back in 2016. His vision was to reward the most adventurous, providing opportunities to beat the clock by facing the most demanding terrain. So there's a mix of parkour and checkpoints. So it's predominantly road, and you could do the whole thing on the road. However, like I say, Mike was scouting this. Actually, the winter before his death, he was out there scouting it. Spoke about it at one point. And so obviously it's an event he never got to see come to fruition, but he was scouting this. You'll see one of the long sectors here. This final sector is basically a really, really long sector, pretty much the entire way, which is a raid Pyrenees, or the Pyrenean raid, basically taking on all the iconic cols and ports of the Pyrenees. A lot of it on road. However, there is some pretty amazing off-road in this kind of area, crossing the border. Lots of old smuggling paths. There's tunnels that you can't ride through, but there are paths over the top. There's some real interesting route choices to be made. Obviously the race started this morning. It started in waves, so I'm really not going to dig too much into actually what's going on with the actual race itself, because everyone was staggered at different time intervals. So some riders could be the best part of an hour behind before they've even started. So until everyone's hit the first checkpoint in Anissa, which they will be doing soon, I'm just going to talk about the route and the race, and then hopefully tomorrow morning we'll have a clearer picture once we get those standings coming through. So I've basically it's a free route race. So if we look at the tracker, it's on Follow My Challenge again. And you can see there's a series of checkpoints. So the first one here in Anissa, is it in Catalonia? It's Spain. I think it's pretty much Catalonia. Then the riders have to cross back over into France to CP2, and then cross back over to CP3. There's a little parcours here before CP3. And then parcours 4 is on the Costa Brava. So those of you, the nearest cycling town is Girona. Really famous area for cycling, beautiful coastline. Spent a bit of time there earlier this year. Before picking up CP5, there's the CP and then there's the parcours 6. So the CP at the start, pretty much at the start of the parcours, and then there's a few options to get onto the start of the basically the Raid Pyrenees, which is basically the epic kind of road adventure. So there's some shortcuts which could be beneficial to off-road shortcuts, but if you've got a road bike and road cleats fitted, then you might struggle. But this is the route I kind of made. So I've kind of put a load of points of interest in there. The dark blue markers, they're the parcours. These are the checkpoints. So the first one where you can see the riders are about to get to is in Anissa. Excuse me while I lose my voice a little bit. And you can see that basically you've got to essentially cross the Pyrenees 4 times. So if I just get the marker on here, so that everyone follows the first little bit, just south of Biarritz at the start. So you have to do this first parcours section, and then at this point here, basically the final and the first kind of intersect a little bit. So you can see where I've put the finish there. I've routed around the slightly flatter bit and gone over here. There might be a bit of a hiker bike because there's a tunnel which obviously you can't go through. There's another pass over here which some riders have gone through. Quite a few different options. And then once you need to get to control point 2, you need to cross back over again. So I've gone for there's a tunnel which you can hike over, and then you go around the flat on the near some god ends. I've not plotted this like super accurately. I've got the main kind of format, so don't go copying this if you are racing at the moment. Probably too late. And then when you come back, so there's some interesting passes through here. So if you've watched further Pyrenees, you'll know that there's some very interesting passes. So there's the Port de Rat, which is in here. I've put it in as a point. It's a really, really hard hiker bike. It's probably good 2 or 3 hours to get up there. So that's a direct route into Andorra, or you can go 40k further around on the road. I've plotted the road because I think the hiker bike is pretty tough, and I think it's going to be quicker to go around over the Port de Invalery. I think that's how you say it. It's the main road going to Andorra and then cut through before you pick up the third parcours. Obviously, there's going to be loads of interesting routes. I know one guy is going to cut across here somewhere on another path. It's also worth saying that the Gila Tunnel, which is in here somewhere. Where is it? Is it there? I think it's this one here. Somewhere around here, there's a tunnel that's it'd be this one here. I believe around there somewhere. There's basically a tunnel that's it's been banned for safety reasons. So yeah, once the rider's through there, it gets a lot simpler on the coast. Bit of cycle path on the Costa Brava, and then basically making your way through. I think the last big route decision is going to be from the checkpoint, control point 5 here to the start of the parcours 6. So there's a couple of little routes across the mountains here, but the less adventurers might not want to go for them. I think they're perfectly rideable dirt roads from the sort of research I've done. You can put the kind of Google Man on there and kind of roughly see what's going on. So it looks like a small road that sort of peters out and turns into a dirt track. And then obviously it's good tarmac all the way back, and you've got all the classic climbs. You've got the Tourmalet, well, the first like the Port de l'Air, which is an excellent climb. Col de la Cour, Port d'Aspet, Col de Mont, I rode those last summer. Peyresourde, a classic from the Tour de France. Col d'Aspen, I mean, Col de Tourmalet, probably the classic Pyrenean climb. The Aubisque, Col de Mont Blanc, and then we've got a few smaller ones on the run into the finish. Again, I've not plotted the run in too thoroughly, but there's not too many routes that these riders can take. So yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how it pans out. It's I'll put the link to this route in the description below. So yeah, once I come back in the morning, we should be able to have a bit of a leaderboard. At the moment, if you click on it, this is basically the waves of riders. I think it was, I'm not sure, waves of 20, I think. So it's hard to really say. Probably estimate distance is better to go on. But even then, it depends on the route selection. So yeah, we'll see tomorrow morning a better picture of what's going on. But I'll finish up just with a bit of Instagram. So this is off the Transpyrenees account. Give those guys a follow and a watch. And you can see the kind of train they're getting as they climb up from the Atlantic. The Pyrenees are beautiful, pretty wild and rugged. Kind of getting jealous actually. Wouldn't mind being out there myself at the moment. And then also this is Hannah. She's one of the race directors. So this was her Instagram this morning. So they must have set off at 6ish this morning. Let me just get my levels right. So yeah, that's the start. So first wave off in the dark, and subsequent waves after that. So a bit of an atmosphere, pretty cool. Nice way to start, and look at that sunrise in the Pyrenees. Can't ask for much better than that, can you? So yeah, it looks like the weather's looking fairly decent. It could turn, but at the moment they've got a good start. So let's see how long that lasts. And yeah, I'll be back. I'll be back in the morning. I'm going to be a bit up and down the next couple of days. So tomorrow morning, Sunday evening, and then I'll get a regular slot again. So the winners should be in around 4 days or so. And yeah, and I'll obviously follow on till some of the mid pack's done. So yeah, again, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you tomorrow for the first real update on the racing and see who the early leaders are.